Alrighty. Notice I do a lot of talking through my problems for you guys, but I do that for myself when I'm doing it as well. I will talk through the problems myself. So like this problem here, I got 4x plus 2 times the opposite of x plus 3 equaling x plus 5. Notice I said 4x plus 2 times the opposite of x. I didn't say 2 negative x or any of that. I said 2 times the opposite of x. So when I look at that problem, it's telling me I got 4x's and I'm supposed to add 2 of the opposite of x's. Well, what do we know happens when I have an x and an opposite of x together? They eliminate each other. So this is really saying I've got 4 of the x's, and I'm going to add 2 of the opposite x's. Well, I'm going to have 2 things cancel out. It's going to reduce down nice pretty simply. If I had that as a picture, oh yeah, booger. Okay, if I had that as a picture, are you? Oh, that's right. I was using magic pen. Sorry. Okay, so I had 4 x's, and I'm supposed to add 2 of the opposite of x's, and then 3, and then I have an x and a 5. I had that all set down here. What would we do? We would say that these canceled each other off, leaving us with the 2 x's, the 3, the x, and the 5 all on one of these brackets. Yep? Yep. We know that's exactly what would happen. Okay, so now how does that happen mathematically? Reduce that down, bring it over here so I can have it set up. Same thing's happening. I've got 4 x's, and I'm adding 2 of the opposite of x's. So together, I can think of this as I've got 4x, and I'm supposed to take away 2x. Because adding 2 of the opposites of the x's is the same as subtracting 2 of the x's. Either way I want to look at it. And then I have the plus 3 equaling x plus 5. So that gets me a 2x plus 3 equals x plus 5. So it cleans it out. When I add the opposite of x, I am reducing the number of x's I have. Okay, so I have both problems at exactly the same place. I've cleaned them up. I've got to 2x plus 3 equals 5. So what I would do is I would eliminate an x from both sides, right? So that means I'm subtracting an x from the left and from the right. That gives me an x plus 3 equaling 5. So when I look at my problem, I have this x, this 3, this 5 still left on my board. Hopefully we all agree there. So now what would I do next is I would add a negative 3 to both sides. I would add a negative 3 to both sides. Well, the 3's cancel off. I've got an x. 5 plus negative 3 is a 2. So the same thing here. I would say this is a 2, and I still have the x because these canceled off. So x equals 2, or x equals 2. Now let's go back and check it. Now, because we had a negative x here, x equals 2, that would mean that opposite of x equals negative 2. So let's take a look here. That would mean is negative 2. So let's go back to the original problem, and we had 4x. Why am I not cloning that? There we go. So 4x's, so that was a 2, a 2, a 2, a 2, a 2 added together, plus to the negative x's, a negative 2, and a negative 2, plus 3, and then I have a 2 plus a 5 on this side. So when I add that all up, this gets me 8, this gets me negative 4, and I'm adding that, plus 3. 8 plus negative 4 is a 4 because they're opposite signs. We're going to subtract. I get a 7. 2 plus 5 equals 7. That works out. So doing it physically, we got it to work out. So now let's check it on the other side and do it mathematically. 4 times 2 plus 2 times negative 2 plus 3 and 2 plus 5. I don't know what I just did. Okay, 4 plus 2 is 8. Negative 4 plus 3. Again, 4 plus 3 is 7. 2 plus 5 is 7. That works out. I have that. Typically speaking, algebraically, we only want to know what x is, not what the opposite of x is. But on your assignment, I think it might ask for the opposite of x as well. So now we have covered 3 different types of problems so far. We've got the problem where it was real simple, 4x plus 6 equals 2x plus 20. If it's already in a simplified form, we know what to do. Okay, the last 2 problems, one said we had to deal with parentheses, and mathematically, algebraically speaking, we used what was called the distributive property. Let me show you where that was at. Right here, when we did this, that was the distributive property because I had 2 of the 2x plus 3's, which meant I had 2 2x's. I add those together, I got a 4x. I had 2 of the 3's, add those together, I have a 6. That's technically the distributive property. And then when we got to the 5x plus 6, we referred to that as combining like terms because I have the x and the 4x, which gave me a total of 5 x's on that side, which were the same as when we counted our triangles. And then this last problem, here we had a negative x in there, which means we actually had a reduction of the number of x's we had to do the problem. So that's part C. I didn't have that up there to begin with. So part C goes on to what happens when we have our opposite of x in our problem. I think you're ready for these. Now, last one. Check this puppy out. I got 4x minus 2 times the opposite of x plus a negative 2 equaling 2 times the opposite of x minus 10. Wow, what a problem. You want to see this? You got to come back to part D.